Hey guys, T-Glizzy here, and today we have an exclusive Bungie interview with Joe Blackburn. So recently, Joe Blackburn, Destiny 2's game director, was on SkillUp's podcast, Friends Per Second, and they were able to ask tons of questions about Destiny 2 and the Lightfall expansion. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that clip for you. Basically, we're getting a response to the criticism that Lightfall received for its campaign. So I'm going to roll that clip, and then I'm going to be coming right back to you guys, and I'm going to be giving you my response.
Just turning to Lightfall, obviously. For anyone not aware, Destiny just launched a major expansion called Lightfall. That's dropped 2 weeks ago now, is it? Feels like longer, because feels like all I've been doing for 2 weeks is playing Destiny. So time is just this massive blur.
Yeah, a little over 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, sure. It's a yearly expansion. It's always a big deal in the Destiny community. Joe, as we start to talk about this, I feel like there's one question that I need to begin with. You know what that question is. I know what that question is. Anyone who has played this campaign knows what this question is. So, Joe, what is the Veil? Can you tell us right now what the Veil is, please?
Yeah, what I can promise about the Veil is that what it is not is something that we're going to explain on a podcast. So yeah, what's the worst?
Guys.
What's the
I'm
worst
sorry,
version
but
of
I
this?
failed you.
Yeah. Like if we ever have a situation where players are like, oh, there's this thing in the game, and I want to learn more about it, which is a situation Destiny's been in before, right? What we don't want is like, okay, well, great, they explained it in this out of game thing, and so what we're really focused on right now is okay, we have a few elements that people need to know more about. Let's get that knowledge into the game, into this place where it's not 6 months later you're like, oh yeah, go watch this YouTube video to find out what this thing is. It should be
Sure.
go play the game and figure it out. So yeah, we're definitely excited to learn more about the Veil this year, but sadly not tonight on this podcast.
Right. Okay. All right. But you're sort of saying to us that more information on the Veil will come sooner rather than later. It will come in game. It's on the way.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I feel like, Lightfall dropped, and I think there's been some different phases to its reception. I think there was that initial phase, when it just dropped, and I think people had quite a raw response to it for a variety of reasons. And then I think that shifted somewhat as people have moved into the rest of the expansion and experienced different parts of it, right? So I'm interested to get your perspective on what it was like in the studio in those opening days when obviously there was a lot of feedback coming at you thick and fast, and a lot of it I'm sure was quite challenging. So what was it like being at Bungie in those first few days and seeing player responses?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to do a thing that's really dangerous on a gaming podcast and potentially go into a sports analogy. So,
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ready.
exactly.
None of us play sports, by the way. None of us are
No.
sports people. So this is
Ready.
great.
Great. But everyone is familiar with the game of basketball. It's like an international game.
On some level.
You throw a ball through a hoop.
Awareness.
There are people that play this professionally. One of the ways I think it's easiest to think about live service in both how we take feedback and how we make the game is we're like a professional sports team, right? In that every week we have to go out and play basketball again, right? And so we don't have this period of okay, we're in full, let's all sit back and lick our wounds and think about what we're doing. It's really, hey, there's another basketball game next week. Let's analyze what's going on. Let's take the learnings and then push that into what we're doing next. And I think one of the really challenging things for people coming into a development environment like this is that sort of everything that you do every single day matters, right? And so there's not a way, we don't have this schedule that allows us to be like, hey, Gerard went up and missed a free throw. Okay, well, let's like roll back the clock, right? And we'll just like he'll keep shooting free throws until he makes it. Like that's part of it. And so when we get feedback, I think it's about live fire. Hey, what are people saying? And so one of the first things that we do with feedback is we understand, like, is this unanimous feedback or is it divided feedback? Unanimous feedback is easy, right? We take this thing and we say, hey, we shipped a thing. The players or audience are all saying the same thing. Great. Okay. That sort of realizes where we missed here or what we did well. And it also allows us to stack rank it pretty well into like how high up in our priority should this be on something that we should be looking at, or something we should be doing more of, or something we should be doing less of. Um, the real tricky one is when people aren't saying the same thing, right? Or they're saying, hey, half of the group really likes this, half of the group really doesn't like this. And then that sort of comes into, we start digging into deeper layers. We're saying, okay, we get it. When the players are divided, generally internally, we're pretty divided on it too. And so we start looking at other metrics. We say, hey, how is this change that we made affecting the way people are playing the game? How is this change affecting the outcome of what we're trying to do? How is this change going to affect the future? And that becomes a really tricky thing to start to align on, to start to figure like, hey, is this a thing that just needs more time in players' hands for them to understand it? Is this a thing where, like, yes, we should just always expect that some of these people, it's not going to sit right? I think there's always an element of game design which is like, if you're doing anything that's risky, you're going to make a game that's not for everyone, right? Like, there are parts of Destiny that I think are super appealing and super exciting, but like, raiding isn't for everybody, and that's okay, right? Like, some people are like, I want to do solo raids. I'm like, okay, well, we've got some great solo content in the game, and we've got these things called dungeons, and you can do that by yourself, and it's like this whole experience. But like, this thing has those rough edges on purpose, and so really, I think it's tricky. Not when everyone's saying the same thing. It's really helpful for us. That really like helps inform our strategy. It's tricky when they're not.
So there we have it from Bungie themselves. They hear our criticism about the Lightfall expansion and the issues that we're having with the campaign. It seems like they're taking all this criticism in that we're giving them. They're also taking the helpful feedback as well, and they're going to apply all of this to the next expansion, Final Shape. It seems like Lightfall was basically just stepping stones for Final Shape. Basically, a lot of quality of life changes happened with Lightfall. We got bringing challenge back to Destiny. We also ended up getting Guardian ranks, which is a great introduction for brand new players. So definitely putting us in a great direction for the Final Shape expansion, and I'm really excited to see what Bungie's gonna do with all of these quality of life changes out of the way. This means they can focus just more on the narrative and delivering us amazing content for the Final Shape expansion. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for me in this Destiny 2 video. I want to know what you guys think about this interview down in the comment section. Let me know down there. I'm gonna be reading each of your guys' comments. Again, what I took away from this is that Lightfall was the stepping stones for what we're gonna be getting in the Final Shape expansion. But I'm gonna be getting out of here. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I've been your boy T Glizzy. You guys have been my awesome viewers, and I'll see you guys in another. Peace.